What's going on, y'all? It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another Golden Years video. For those of you that have never seen the other Golden Years videos I have, basically what we do, we take the prime of a battle rapper, one great year, a stretch of great years, or a stretch of great battles, and we show them some appreciation, we show them some love, we go back, break down their highlights, why it was their best run, and what they were considered around that time. And today, I'm very happy to bring you the Calicoe late 2011 to late 2012 run. I've said this on my channel a few times. Calicoe is one of my personal favorite battle rappers. Extremely unique, one of one, in a style that's not extremely punch heavy, but still leads to many quotable lines and quotable moments. Something that's not pulled off by that many battlers. For those of you that haven't seen the format as well, I'm going to start with some background info, where we were right before the run, then the run, and then my thoughts about it overall. So without further ado, let's hop in that time machine. Let's go back to 2011, and let's see where Calicoe was right before he started this historic run. So to start with the backstory, where we were before the run started, obviously since the run starts in 2011, the pre-story, that's early Cal. That's the beginning of Calicoe. And obviously we know some of his signature battles when he came on. The body over Newborn, classic, whole third round basically freestyled, so that was incredible. And the battle versus Young Ill, I view it as a good loss for him. I believe Calicoe got around in that battle, but obviously this is prime Young Ill. He walked away with the, who is this dude moment. So Cal definitely got off to a good start on URL, but just before this run starts, he has two battles that people may not fully remember. One is talked about a little more than the other, but he battles Heartless on Grind Time and loses. One of the more famous, kind of bizarre losses that Cal has. And then another one that's even less talked about is his loss to Rich Dollars. I believe it was in the same setting as DNA and Surf, a couple other old-time battles. So, it goes to show a lesson that even for the all-time greats, it's not easy being a rookie. There's growing pains. So when you guys see younger battlers losing, remember at one point, Calicoe lost to Rich Dollars and Heartless. And now he's one of the best battle rappers, to ever be in the sport. One of the most winning at that. So definitely some growing pains, some potential shown. And people were waiting for what is going to be, the battle that's going to put Cal on track. He's obviously young. He's got star potential. When are we going to see that pop? They saw it a little bit versus Newborn, and then shortly, Cal would have his first battle of the run against another guy who would grow to be a well-known top-tier in the game as well. So the first battle to talk about on this list is Calicoe versus Shotgun Suge. A battle that's pretty infamous, for something that Suge did, but it sits at 1.4 million views, so a platinum battle for both of them. Early stages of both their career, early stages in Smack. So these are the building blocks, that built the foundation of URL. And just to start out in the first, Suge basically gets right into the proof disrespect. Now, obviously, this battle leads to many things, another incident that we'll talk about later on the list. But Suge's approach to the battle, taking a straightforward disrespect, disrespecting Detroit legend Proof. The proof was in the pudding. Send me where the proof at. We all know that these bars of disrespect that Suge came with in the first, and it was kind of overwhelming, to be honest with you. People were shocked. This is obviously disrespect. Arsenal, Suge right here was straight disrespect. Was more common in battle rap, where it's not really about the bars. Sometimes you could just say some wild shit, and that was kind of generated as good lines. He has that. He also says, like I told Verb, I'm the shooter and the driver. Haymaker reaction. Obviously, that's kind of turned into a motto for Shotgun Suge. He's the shooter and the driver. So it's a pretty incredible first round from Suge. Calicoe has an okay first. Taking a shot at P, it didn't really land. Some of y'all might not know who P is. That'll be a whole other video if we get that far back in the research. But he had a scheme about fucking Suge's baby mama, and the whole, now she's screaming free blackface with a BMF jacket on. Perfect rapping, something I've talked about with Cal before. His rhyme pockets, his pure rapping is fantastic, but I had Suge taking the first round 1-0. And as you get into the second and the third, I think Suge just loses a lot of steam, and you start seeing the rhyme pockets and the wittiness of Cal just overmatching Suge as he kind of writes downhill. He has an angle about Cal's dad being a big meech, back up. Some onomatopoeia, drum go boom, boom. It sounds like I'm making a beat. And he even takes some shots at the entire Midwest, kind of does a Midwest scheme, which was, kind of becoming a thing. A lot of using battlers' names and schemes. I let the K shine, shit like that. But Cal comes back with a really strong second. With these 4-5s, I ain't giving him change for a 20. An angle about Suge not battling outside of Jersey, obviously not battling outside of your home region at this point, was a common point of attack that guys would use against others. Like, you're too scared to go on the road, especially the Midwest movement. These guys were coming to New York and taking over, and they're saying, you can't do this shit in the Midwest. You can't do this shit where we're from, but we can come to you and win. So definitely, an angle you're going to hear about a lot of battles around this time period. But it was a really great second. And they'll cancel that bitch like Nino. An extra clip will put an extra crip in your crew. Calicoe got the second clear, and then on to the third. Suge did a thing. We can fight outside right now, but the pump fake, no one really went for it. And it was just a light one overall. He even took a shot at Fred the Godson and got booed for it, which is no surprise, especially for the setting he was in. Then Cal cleans it up at the end. Take this clip and watch him shrivel to a bacon bit.
This nigga horrible, terrible, probably can never make a hit. Last time he had a hot line, it was with that Jamaican bitch. Portraying the goon make me sick, we all know you faking bitch. Take this clip and watch him shrivel up like a bacon bitch.
Choke him out with Arsenal's dreads. This shot to get around, leave his back out like a hospital gown. So not even the craziest Cal, but in the second and third, you're seeing the rhyme patterns, even back-to-back punching a little bit. And he was able to beat Suge 2-1, even though kind of the story of the battle was Suge talking about Proof, disrespecting Proof, and Calicoe not doing anything. Cal, because what is he going to snuff in the middle of the battle? But Cal got the second and the third relatively clear. I think even as time goes on, it's even been more clear. So Cal starts this run out with a 2-1 W over Shotgun Suge. Now, obviously, beating Suge at the time, pretty good. It's considered a debatable battle at the time, especially, I think, over time, more people have Cal. I think a lot of people had Cal back then, too. But we were waiting for the next challenge, and that came on the very first Gnome, one of the best Gnomes, where Calicoe battled K Shine. One of the more dominant performances in Cal's catalog. Shine just overall wasn't amazing this battle. This was during a growth period for Shine as well. Kind of figuring out what he wanted to be, one of the unders in Dot Mob, and you could see a blend of the styles, Rex kind of the influence there, but this is not the rapid-fire performance-based Shine. He was kind of all in one spot, very jokey, not as many, back-to-back punches, and it led to a weird period in his career, and Cal was able to take advantage of that. In the first round, Shine has some gay jokes, and making fun of Terranio, like, you say you sparked the chrome? No, your name is Terranio. And I guess it was cool back then, especially with Dot Mob cheering it on, but really has aged poorly. He had a Tetris reach. So I could go on and on, but there was definitely a lot of weird stuff in this first round from Shine. And Cal comes out with everyone strapped with me, like they ready to rock climb. That was fire. He has angles, coming at all of the Dot Mob. Different rhyme patterns in and out. And then obviously the iconic haymaker. We ride with it in our lap. Just dope overall. This is clearly a standout, highlight career round for Cal. At the time, this is probably the best round Cal had spit on URL. Let these bullets park in sun and have them shaking like Ali. So it was 1-0 clear. The second round ends up being more the same. Shine as an angle. Cal's lives in a nice area, but very filler, just very all over the place. Cal comes back. He is a Shine impression that he does. He stumbles a little bit while he does it. The crowd gave you a lot of hell for any type of stumbling back then, let alone now. You can win a battle and choking around. Back then, man, it was a different type of time, the way the crowd was hard on these battlers. But even with that, the 8 go, you never know how many egos my toaster had. I bet he have a hot 16 after these faux. So Cal clear in the second. So at this point, Cal is just up 2-0 clear. And then into the third, I think it's a step up. Probably the best round that Shine has this battle. He had a miss again. I bet I won't miss again. A little bit reachy, but, I'll allow it. And then load up, Pau, Laker. Talk about killing Cal's girl. Pau Gasol was in the Lakers at this time. Puerto Rican chopper, go KKK Pasa. taking shots at Cortez. And that's kind of the problem with Shine's third, even though it's his best round. He spends most of the time taking shots at Cortez and DNA. That is kind of where the best highlights and haymakers of his entire battle, but specifically this third, comes from. So not really a lot that he said to Cal, and Cal comes back, CDs, burners will rip him up. I'm my mama, I don't see any G in these motherfuckers. So kind of another slogan that Cal brought later in his career. You hear him say every once in a while. And then once again, shooting at Dot Mob, he got Mook pretty emotional, talking about some incident in Detroit. So he had them kind of looking crazy. Mook jumping out in front and talking shit, kind of stopping the battle. Shine's energy and pacing is just off. So this was a clear 30 for Cal. You can debate if it's a body, borderline body. It's not like Cal left Earth the same in his second and third like he did in his first, but dominant performance. A 30 on K-Shine at any period is definitely an accomplishment. So now he's got the win on, after that little growing development, some of the developmental pains. He's got the win on Suge, and he's got the clear win on Shine. And he had all the momentum in the world going into the first Summer Madness, which Cal would be on and give another career performance. And then, so after 30 and Shine, like I said, we get to SM1, where Calicoe versus Math Hoffa. Now, for newer fans, or even fans of the last 5 years, if you haven't done your full research, I know it can seem like Math's hit or miss. Math loses bad to guys like T-Top. He's been bodied here and there. He wins, against the Hollow. But at this point in time, Math was that fucking guy. Math was one of the premier talents on URL. When URL first started, Math and Rex were kind of, what we view the Rocks now, and the Surfs, the Geechies, the Nitties. This was, Math Hoffa. Around this time, he was one of those for URL. And that's why, this battle clocking in at 1.6 million. So another platinum battle. I don't know if I mentioned before, but the Shine battle had 2.4 million. So the first multi-million one that we covered. But the reason I can speak so much on that is because in terms of speaking on the battle, there's just not much to talk about. This was a clear body bag win for Calicoe. 3-0, destroying one of the best guys up here. It was really... And it's tough because this is the difference between this and the Shine battle, is that not only is this a bad Math, this is one of the best Calicoes ever. Math comes out with the kill Calicoe opener, which he had said, leading up to the battle, he's going to show us how to do that. And he had a terrible round. He took some shots at Verb, but he had this, I'll take you out and turn you to yo. No, not even back then. That's not going to work. So that's how little there is to talk about Math's first. Calicoe comes out, him and Corby bumper to bumper like a traffic jam. Think third wheel. We'll send a couple to take you out. You a bitch. You know why you a bitch? Because your whole career's based on swinging on a bitch. That shit was funny as hell. These hollows gonna leave him heated. You already know that. So Calicoe, crowd reaction, pacing, everything, swamps Math in the first. And Math comes back with this water-resistant watch bar, which got booed. Kind of crazy. He said Two-Face when it comes to holding water. He's an Aquemini. Math has actually went and said that's one of his favorite bars he's ever said. That bar is terrible. I get the Aquarius Gemini, but nah, man. That's just... And that just goes to show, even though Math was great, we all have bad games. He just misread what he thought maybe the situation was going to be. And it carried across all 3 rounds. So the second was even worse than the first. Then you get Cal. I'm in the same spot. I don't want to hear how tough you are. I'm in the same spot Doge was at. He has a Skype and Facebook scheme. Let it bland. The laser looked like a webcam. That was hard.
That's that Skype rifle, that lead bland, the scope looking like a webcam. You dead nice, you notice my lead snipe whenever my website.
As soon as the gun jam, I turn his brains to jelly. So once again, now we're talking about 2-0 clear and into the third. Math steps up a little bit. Call me Polo. I put those riders on the front of your shirt. Takes a shot at Mook that lands. And then some strange angle about Cal eating out Miss Hustle on her period. So just, I don't know what the hell Math came with rounds of 1 through 3. And Cal closes out the body bag. You was nice with the heat when you turn into this, what you turn into this Maverick foe. Just pure rapping through and through. AR knocked down the walls of turn your apartment to a loft. And then obviously, the big thing is that he calls out Lux. Hey, yo, Loaded Lux, what the fuck is up? So this is what you're supposed to do. When you get an opportunity, this is the first Summer Madness, so people didn't know just how big Summer Madness would be going forward. But Cal took his shot, got his shot against one of the biggest and best stars in the league, 3-0 body bag and calls out Lux to end it. It's historic. It's a feel-good moment. It's what you're supposed to do, and it's what battle rap is about. So now with wins on Suge, Shine, Killing, Math, where does he go next from this? And then it was time for Smack to finally book an event in Detroit, and that brought on Calicoe versus Arsenal to headline the Smack Detroit event. Battle is at 3.99 million views, might have broken 4 million as we speak. I think the stat will show exactly what it's at. But this battle is a classic for a lot of impact-based reasons. Now, quality of battle-wise, I wouldn't necessarily use the word classic. I'm very picky with what I call classics. I think you need to have 3 amazing rounds from each battler to make a classic. But in some cases, the impact is able to just carry the battle to another level. In the Calicoe Arsenal case, you'll probably have most people telling you it's classic, and that's because of the impact it has. Starting on Cal first, and if you don't die, when that max spread, you know what I'm saying? If you don't die, better lay down and act dead.
I hustle every fucking day so I can stack bread. You a snitch, probably get on the case and attach feds. But when that max spread is gonna hit backhead, and if you don't die, better lay down and act dead.
So, one of the more quotable lines probably of Cal's career in the first round here. He is some hometown pandering, trying to get a double Mac cheeseburger from the Murder Mac. A little bit of comedy, saying Arsenal was the lookout man, because when beef would pop off, he'd be like, "Look out, man!" And he even takes more shots at Loaded Lux. Building up the tension for that battle. And it goes on, then it goes to Ars. Now, something to note for this battle, it's kind of clear the Detroit crowd wasn't trying to show Arsenal love. Understandable if you look at the precedent set with the Shotgun Suge incident, which we'll get into in here, actually within this round. He has his Once Again I'm Here opener, the Rip Hamilton bar before he battled, they got to put his fucking face on. That was fire. And then Arsenal gets pressed about the Suge stuff. Pretty well publicized, overly, crazy talked about, iconic moment in battle rap. We all know it. Trick coming up saying he don't know no Suge. And for a lot of people, that right there kind of killed Arsenal's momentum. And is a big reason why they give Cal the first. For me, I edge Cal the first soft material. People acting like Arsenal's scared in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Dude walks up the stage on you. I can understand, watch out. But just material-wise as well, even though the Rip Hamilton bar might be the best bar of the round from either, I thought Cal was more steady from beginning to end. And, even if I don't hold that exact moment against him with, Trick, it definitely fucked up his momentum. So I had a Cal 1-0 edge, and as you get into the second, this is what back on Cal, this is what Wale would look like if Ross ain't give him another chance. He had this big Kobe scheme where he says he get 8 from 2 4s, a couple Kobe bars in there. One of probably the better Kobe bars in battle rap. He has some wordplay we've heard before. From here on out, I'm going to just call that blue magic, here on. So this is obviously, go back in time, this is original, hadn't become OBC yet. And then even pulls out the red flag saying, I'm pulling out a red flag, I'm challenging your play. Try to emulate the disrespect, what Suge did to Proof, and then him pulling out, making fun of the blood flag. Arsenal starts, does, talk about his legacy, most views in URL history, which is crazy, most viewed battler in the world now, but then that was true too. Make your mother watch this ass beating on Skype. Beaten Math, gonna get you Harold at the stoplight, which I thought was fire. So lighter round from both, but I actually edged Arsenal the second, so I did 1-1 going into the third. And as we start the third here, it's back on Cal. He rebuttals about the Trick incident. Trick coming up earlier in the battle, and that's, fire, helps him control the room more. I mean, that's an on-the-spot incident. And then from there, MTV, you were on MTVU? I'm not sure that's some shit that MTV do. That was funny, so now he's kind of clowning Arch for most of this third. You battled Holla, and he silenced you. Even if you ride with Shotgun, y'all both gonna ghost ride the whip. That was hard. So Cal comes in, kind of displays everything. A little bit of clowning him, a little bit of comedy, displaying the room control, the ghost ride, the whip bar. Back then, I'd say it was a little more rare, guys are sticking to time limits, and since it's a lot more pure rapping in this era, you're going to see less like punch, bar for bar haymakers, but every round you usually get a line like that, the ghost ride, the whip line. Thought that was fire. And then you get into Arsenal's third, and in my opinion, it's the worst. It's actually the worst round from Arsenal in this battle. I was not a fan of it. Uh, as I little fillery to me is probably the best word I can give, which I know a lot is a critique a lot of people will give arse rounds. Part of that might be me watching it, present time. It is really hard to jump in the time machine. A lot of stuff that was considered filler back then that's just straight up disrespect without really bars or direction, that was accepted back then. So if you're watching a little bit of magnifying glass, I'm sure it's closer, a better round. He also has a Kevin Hart impression in there, which was, pretty funny. And then he does an alphabet scheme, and even by this point, the alphabet scheme had kind of overdone, doing A to Z words. I gave Cal the third kind of clear, to be honest with you, which means I had Cal winning the battle, edging the first and winning the third clear. Like I said, that's hit 4 million views. A lot of battles. It's really rare for them to hit that club. So one of the more impactful and talked about battles in Cal's catalog. For me, it might actually quality-wise be one of the worst battles of the run, but it still continued his momentum. Arch was another humongous name at this time, so Cal was running through all of the top comp. And that would lead him actually to doing Arce a favor and going over to UW to repay him and doing a battle in New Jersey. And that battle in Jersey would be Calicoe versus O-Red. Funny enough stat for this, or not even necessarily a stat, but if you break down where we're at 5 battles in, you see that a big portion of Calicoe's run comes from the Jersey battle rappers, some Jersey legends, starting with Suge. We just went over Arsenal, now O-Red in Jersey. So Cal, very, big part of being a part of the Midwest movement, going on the road and having battles, battling guys on their home turf, and battling the best of the best. So, to start out on Red in this first round, UW, as I believe I mentioned, Red comes out pandering to the Jersey crowd as he should. Has a Ben Stiller, you couldn't have been Stiller. Ben Stiller bar was a Meet the Falkers concept, so that was a pretty good bar. And then some other stickouts from this round. Red has a Megatron Matt Stafford bar. The only guy with a 9 in Detroit to throw bullets at Megatron is Matt Stafford. And then Red calling himself the Transformer, his nickname at the time. So the way that all wraps up around is definitely a dope bar. Even had a play in there for trying to touchdown in red zone, so definitely layered. And then he has the Final Destination bar, which is also a haymaker. This is Final Destination. You were dead as soon as you stepped off that plane. So Red has a strong first, and Cal has a cool first to respond. Cal is pretty consistent in this battle. It kind of writes uphill. He has a dice scheme that was pretty cool. Only reason I did this is because I thought because Shotgun Suge thought I wouldn't come out. So he definitely spends a lot of the round taking shots at people outside, specifically Suge. And then even ends with Red looks like Whoopi Goldberg and Sister Act, turns the phone and says, if y'all don't know what Whoopi Goldberg and Sister Act looks like, and shows him. So I had Red kind of taking the first clear, though. As we get into the second, Red sadly starts off on the wrong foot. I even think for then, with the stealing bars angle, where he goes, you said this in this battle, but this guy said this in this battle. Oh, so you stole it. So that takes up a pretty good portion of the first half of this round. I do not like that. Didn't really work for people back then. Definitely doesn't work, in terms of how the battle ages. And then he is able to pick it up, though. Torch or break down that sport like an analyst, talking about a sports car. Analyst breaking down the sport. I thought that was fire. Then he has a soda scheme in there, 7-Up, Sierra Mist. It was cool. And then you got power from your sun. You're a solar panel. Thought that was fire, especially for the time. But then Cal comes back with the Rajon Rondo line.
Let's talk about Tsunami, sir. I mean Rajon Cox. I mean all that tough talk to fuck around and get Rajon shot. I show up to Rajon with a blindfold, get Rajon John Doe, put a 9 in Rajon back and leave Rajon Rondo.
Obviously, if you look at the bass, that's not exactly a crazy layered rhyme, but the way he put it all together, delivered it, rapped it, performed it, definitely a haymaker. This guy's supposed to be the ultimate warrior, but he acting like gold dust. Talking about O-Red, he's O-Red and Bacher. That was fire as fuck too. Even has the Bill Collector impersonation to go with it. I'm gonna rap like Bill Collector because I know that they don't like him. You could argue that Red probably has, even though the first half of this round is a bad angle, you could argue the second half, he has better bars, but Cal entertains. He brings the whole package. So I edged the Cal the second. And then into the third round, not much to talk about here. It's the O-Red St. Louis story, talking about the infamous night at that house, whatever happened with that young lady, and how that whole situation went down, and just comedy, showmanship. Clearly, Cal got the third round. So I had Cal beating O-Red 2-1, third clear, second edge. And this is big to go in Jersey and do that, have the iconic moment with the St. Louis story in his third. The hype was all up, and now it was time for Cal to face that final boss battle, that big challenge for the battler that he's been calling out ever since Summer Madness 1. And then a year later, at Summer Madness 2, the headliner, Calicoe would face Loaded Lux. Battle sitting at about 5.7 million views, one of the most iconic battles in URL history and battle rap history, completely jam-packed from moments, iconic, culture shifting, all types of different, words of praise that we can give it. Extremely, extremely classic battle of the highest tier. And that might not even necessarily be fully because of quality. Like I said, I'm pretty in particular with classics. I like 6 rounds of amazing material both ways to really give it that name. But in this particular case, we're talking about a round we'll talk about in here, which is obviously, one of the best in battle rap history. And just the way it was culture shifting, there's certain battles that the impact-wise just can't be denied. It just means too much to the culture to not be considered a classic. But obviously, we start on Cal here first. And Cal has a very good first, probably his best round at the battle. Takes a shot at Ars trying to escape. Talked about Ars trying to escape in Detroit. He was fearing for his life. And then goes into the better part of his round. Don't matter if you loaded Lux, if the gun on safety. I thought that was fire. Back in talking about taking an angle about, on SM2 they brought back Mook, Lux, Iron, brought back all the legends, saying that they're back in URL because their career failed the music and they ain't got no choice. I like that angle. That was fire. And then probably his most quotable line from the first, put the pound on his chin like he's talking on the phone.
But we ain't never seen him spark enough to chrome. I catch him in his crib, they have to chalk him in his home. Or I catch him on his block while he walking all alone and put the pound on his chin like he talking on the phone.
I thought that was fire as well. So Cal came out, on fire to start this battle. And Lux obviously has the Harlem Hospital giving beds out, iconic haymaker, and then chokes. So Cal was up 1-0 clear to start. That moment in itself, one of the craziest chokes of all time. And then as we get into the second round, really where the battle lies, Cal comes out with I got some shit that'll leave him with the reversible hip. Fire. Very fire. I just want a reason to kill him. I ain't want the money. Talking about this whole setup, saying I just want a reason to kill him. I ain't want the money in his first place. Talking about something for ransom on money from Lux. Lux comes with the money and he kills him. So it was a very elongated concept, but it ended pretty dope. Had a lot of good pure rapping in it. Fuck loaded Lux. I'll get Lux loaded with all hollow heads. That was fire. So Cal's actually having a good second. Isn't it crazy how I draw something just to erase someone? That was crazy as well. Like, as these first 2 rounds from Cal, it's actually a lot of back-to-back punching, which really isn't the forefront of Cal's style. He has a very slight stumble on the Proctor bar. I'm sure that most of you guys know the bar that I'm talking about. And it definitely takes the momentum away from his round. He has a wrestling scheme towards the end of his round, but didn't end it horrible. Just ended it on a little bit of a downer note. And then Lux comes right back, in the middle of New York. Obviously, crowd was very receptive even after the choke. And there's just a lot of flow patterns here. You can sense that the tension is thicker than German guard dogs. We all know that. If you find any skeletons in my closet, that should just tell you how long I had bodies in it. Everything in my biohazard bar. The evil to live backwards bar. You just talk. What is it? Larry Murphy, you just talk a good fight. I could be butchering the fuck out of Larry Murphy. I don't know my boxing like that, but I know it was a boxing commentator bar, so that was fire. We used to battle on the roof. The loser had to jump. He gonna lean like a Learjet. And then ends it with a cake mix. You ain't even half the batter. So this is a really, really debatable round. I know as time has went on, clearly Lux has this iconic third round right after to really what would do is seal the battle on most sides. We could even just jump right to the third before we fully discuss my winner for the second. But Cal has his worst round, clearly a little defeated confidence-wise, which makes the battle even look worse. Talked about Y'all Love Me last year. A little bit even more stuttery, so it's just a tough round for Cal. And then Lux, oh my God, the skinny dipping, the blackface father angle. This isn't a Lux video. One day we'll probably have a video going down bar for bar that round. But Lux obviously took the third clear, and that round, that third is so good. It makes you forget that the first two rounds, Cal's got the first clear. And then, like I said, the second is debatable. So if we double back to the second, it really is a tough call. But I would have to edge Lux the second, meaning that I do view this as kind of a debatable battle, in a way. Now, obviously, the second is debatable, and they both got a round clear. So in theory, it would be, a debatable battle. So we could go by that rules, but in a very rare occasion, we're just talking about a third here that's probably better than the rest of the battle combined. I mean, just ridiculous by Lux. And even though we should never have it that one round carries a win, we're talking about a debatable round here. And then of the two clear rounds, like I said, Lux's third just completely swamps the battle impact-wise. I mean, I shouldn't have to explain any more about Lux's third and what it's done. So, I had Lux 2-1 edge. I think he had a little more, and he ended better in the second as opposed to Cal with the little Proctor stumble. So, like I said, not the last two rounds clear, but I have Lux second edge and third clear. And whether you have this as a win or loss for Cal, this is where his run ends momentum-wise. Definitely chopped him down. Believe he even sat out for a little bit after this. So, yes, I had loaded Lux 2-1 to end Calicoe's 2011 through 2012 run. And as I said, this will be the end of this Golden Years video here for Calicoe. Lux definitely put a hamper into that momentum. It was time for Cal to regroup after, but nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, this launched Cal into that top level guy, one of the best of the world conversations, which he's still able to hold through many years of consistency. From here, he went on to be one of the winningest battle rappers of all time, one of the most consistent, some of the fewest clear losses of any top tier, especially one that steps out, pretty semi-often as Cal does. And some other things I just want to highlight about this run as a whole, looking back at it. The road work obviously is a big part of the Midwest movement, guys going on the road, getting wins, facing guys from New York and New Jersey in their territory. And this run pretty much personifies that. Suge in New York, even though Suge's Jersey, to go to the New York Midwest was, they weren't trying to give those guys noise at first. K-Shine in New York, Red in the middle of Jersey. Obviously, Arsenal did come over to Detroit. And then Loaded Lux in the middle of New York as well, and Math Hoffa, but especially the Loaded Lux battle. Lux's return battle in the middle of New York. Obviously, some people say to this day that battle was a setup. I'm a little bit of a believer in that as well. Taking Lux in the middle of New York, the crowd was never going to help you. So it's no shock, the stuff up on the Jumbotron and all that. Even though I have Lux winning the battle, it takes a lot to go in there and even take that matchup under those circumstances. That's just insanity. But I had him as a 5-1 record by the end of this. All elite comp, pretty hungry. We're talking Red, Arsenal, Suge, Shine. These are all when they're making a name for themselves too. So he's facing some of the hungriest versions of these legends and top tiers that we know today. And his skill set that he has here is all around. Like I said, I thought in the Lux battle, maybe going to back-to-back punches wasn't really going to be the best strategy. Obviously, he tries to mix in some substance there, but he has some of the better punches he's had. I think it just gets washed away a little bit. Not even a little bit, a lot of it by substance, particularly Lux third, as we just went over. But the storytelling versus Red, one of the best storytellers Calicoe is in battle rap history, and the real talk he's able to just exhibit versus Suge, versus Shine. Iconic haymakers, moments, anything you want from Calicoe or any battle rapper, he gives you in this 6-battle run. It's why I think it is the best run of Cal's career even to this day, and it's one of the many examples that you can give for talking about why Calicoe is one of the best battle rappers of all time. Personally, I think is damn near objectively one of the top 5 best battle rappers of all time, but I had a lot of fun making it. You guys let me know for my next Golden Years what run I should do. Comment down below. Any set of years from a guys, give it down below, and I might go and do a full breakdown over that prime part of their career. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and it's been Jason Reviews here, man, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.